Good evening, guys, and welcome to tonight's Hangout in the Crib, which you probably already know is about May's work in progress. And we're going to do some bits and pieces on some hellstrike builds as well for people that have just won it in the Forsaken Arena. So, as you may see during the show, the guys are in fact suited and booted. Would you like to
Is that
comment on that at all, Rob?
is that you leading into me? Yeah. So, well, there's actually the reason why we did it is more of a joke, but I suppose it has got some reason behind it now. So I can't remember who it was. I'll have to look through my other messages, but somebody sent me a message, and they basically said that they think the show is shit. We don't put enough effort in. We're not professional, even though we're just a group of players coming out of our own time, unpaid to do this. And they basically said we're too. They used the word ghetto. So here we go. We're bringing it up a notch, suiting and booting, coming at you
But
at a professional angle. And also, we've got our brand new shipbuilding thing, not shipbuilding, but ship designs for the community. So why not wear a suit to mark the momentous occasion?
apart from me, I'm lazy. I'm just wearing a t-shirt that says I'm a weatherman. I'm not a weatherman, but you're getting more than a few inches tonight because, well, I'm me.
Yeah.
Uh,
You've let the team down.
yeah,
Er,
I let the team down, but there we go. Anyway, should we crack on with it?
Yes, let's
Crack
do
on,
this.
Cracker.
All right. I will start the slides. Okay. So, like the guys said, we're going to talk about work in progress and the new Forsaken mission items and hell strikes. So let's start with the changes. The big one for today is the Crusaders projectile speed bonus will now properly increase the speed of projectiles fired by ships using the hull. The Crusader on its blueprint had a plus 50% projectile speed stat that didn't work. So now it does. And I did play around with my Crusaders this afternoon, and it looked like my Arbalests were firing, shots were going even faster than they were before. So I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, anyone else try it out?
I
Um,
ran mine today too. One of the guys in my alliance said he ran his and he didn't notice a difference, but I noticed a difference in mine. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but Crusaders really didn't need a whole lot of help anyway. So, but yeah, I noticed them firing a little quicker.
Yep.
See, I like the fact that they're fixing things they mess up, but it's it should make them more overpowered again. To be honest, I mean I've got them myself, but it's one of them things where not getting it right first time and giving people mixed watch times of what they actually do, how good they actually are.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the next one, fixed case where the shipyard would not update to displaying the latest retro level of a hull that was selected prior to the retrofit completing. If that one doesn't make sense to you, I've actually run into it. Like if you're building an Atlas and it's a 2-week build and you start it and you're also retrofitting the Atlas, so maybe you start it, it's at like R2, and then you finish R2 and you do R3 and then you do R4 and your ship's still building because ships take a while to build, as we all know. So your shipyard still says R2. I don't know why it's a big deal, but I guess Kixeye fixed it. And then these other three look a little like one-off rare cases, so there's that. Also going on now, you should be able to do the Going Rogue campaign. If you haven't done it yet, you should do it. Remember, the fleets are pretty doable with subs, and then you could just blow to the center with something explosive. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Let It Burn. Going Rogue has all the ships. You can still do those with subs, actually. Zombie subs for patient.
yeah, you can do it for free if you had enough patience.
Yeah, yeah. So do it. Fourth one is Grease Monkeys. Third is Irradiated Cutthroats. Good stuff.
always two good crews to have. So like we always say, get it done.
Yeah, I
Yep.
did 1 through 3 with a Mighty Mouse Lightning Carrier build that's on the page, and then did 4 with Warbird Fleet, and it was easy done.
Especially with the raid coming up as well, that grease monkeys will be very handy. Quarter repair.
Yeah, don't waste it. Save it for the raid.
Yeah, good advice.
That's
Okay.
my plan.
Yep. Oh, the other tip I noticed is on the first mission of going rogue, you have a lot of room to the south. So if you have like a fast fleet with long range, I use like Mercuries even with siege missiles, you can just turn south and stay out of range of everything and pick them all off for no damage. So that's another good one. Let it burn. Okay, so now, yeah, pick off fleets and let it burn. That'll be this weekend. Subs for the fleets, something explosive for the middle. And then we've got Retrofit Pack 18 coming, and that is, I had the date on there, but I guess I cut it off. That is going to come out after the raid, as I recall. But going in the Retrofit Pack, we got some limited hulls this time, which people have been asking about. So we've got Greta's Nuke Cruiser, or the Nookie, as I like to call it. Got Visago's Interdictor, or Dick, and Harlock's Triton, and Zoe's Stingray. So, yeah, and we all know that Greta's Nook and Visago's Dick go great together.
Wow, Larry.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
didn't put in the other stuff that we found, Larry. When we were looking.
Yeah, do not.
For the Greta Spader picture.
I
Yeah,
sent, I sent
not.
that video to some of the Alliance, and they were pretty disturbed when they saw it.
It was very disturbing.
But I think it's the first time I've seen you swear, Larry.
Maybe.
In caps lock as well. You went trailer trash on me.
Yeah. 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 Don't image search Greta Spader. You
No.
won't like what you find.
Don't YouTube search it either.
Definitely don't do that. No way.
All right.
Not a good idea.
So, any thoughts on the limited retrofits? Yeah.
I'm interested to see what the Harlock Triton is going to be, to be honest. So I've got 4 of them all ranked up.
Yeah. Some maybe some accuracy on countermeasures would be nice.
I'm also wondering what the stats on the Greta's Nuke Cruiser are going to be, since we just had the regular Nuke Cruiser go to R10. You know what I mean? Is it going to be that much better, or is it going to be the same thing as when these came out in the campaigns, where it's like, oh, you get like 5% reload or something retarded like that doesn't even really help you that much.
I think they're going to be I think they're going to be, they're going to make them a bit better than the R10 Nuke Cruiser, but nothing sensational.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think it's probably going to be very similar to the R10, to be honest, with obviously the random override you get with the cryo launcher.
Yep. All right. And continuing with our schedule, the next raid was announced for next week. And they said it will have a similar structure to Descent. So you'll have that sector progress bar unlocking a sector store, and all those little bonuses along the way. There's going to be a new boss target, they said, but they didn't say what it would be. They just compared it to the Reaver Mothership and the Kraken, so maybe something good. And then there was a little one-off tip. Said radioactive defense, fire field resistance, and/or maneuverability are your friends. So I figured I'd repeat that here. But that's
pretty much
nothing.
the same as what you'd expect, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is about the same as any Reaver.
With the fire field resistance, I'm guessing they're talking frostburns. Maneuverability, obviously, you want speed to outrun the morts. It's pretty much what we talked about last month, weren't it?
Radio defense, Highlander.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they announced Well, they've kind of vaguely announced that there would be another Forsaken Arena tournament at the end of May. They said week of May 26th, which is a Tuesday. That might mean that it's starting sometime after, right? They've generally started them on Thursdays or Fridays. So,
So that's starting that a bit weird and starting it like beginning of the week.
well, they said it would be the week of, so that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to start on the 26th. They're pretty vague, other than, yeah, there's going to be another one. I think Irf had some comments about the tournament.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this up, really. It's a little bit of a rant. It's not very much of one, but it's a bit of a rant. I've been contacted by a few people who have, let's just say, expressed a pretty bad opinion of the way that Kixeye have handled what's happened to them. Basically, they were in seeding groups for the Forsaken tournament that didn't fill up. So obviously they've worked really hard to get to the top of the group, and so that they would be in like the top 10. In which case, he would have got 3 Grim Wraths, and obviously the person who's in top would have got the badge and the new skin for the Grim Wrath. Unfortunately, because 50 people didn't enter into it, they actually ended up being placed at 51 through to 57. So, just the people that I spoke to, and ended up getting the relevant prize for being ranked 51st, 3. So, they actually basically got cheated out of 2 Grim Wrath blueprints, purely because people didn't play in the arena. And, I don't think that's right. I don't know what everybody else thinks.
Well, no, it's not. I mean, it's not their fault. The people in their bracket didn't want to play.
But I mean, it wouldn't be too bad if they contacted Kixeye and Kixeye turned around and said, "Look, yeah, all right, we know it's a problem. We'll manually add it to your inventory," and that issue would have been solved. However, they've refused to do anything about it. So, I think that's a really poor show. I know that somebody in my alliance is in the same boat, and they spent extra gold in order to obviously stay in the top 10, so they could get the extra blueprints. Used road crews, which obviously meant them some uranium, rockets, etc. And after she cooled down, all she wanted was to be reimbursed for the extra money that she spent, because she wanted to try and get the 3, and they wouldn't even do that. One of the actual responses from Kixeye support when she asked the question, so it's okay for a player to be out of pocket then for something that you haven't described correctly, and their reply was yes. So that's very poor customer service, and I think it's disgraceful. That's all I've got to say on the matter, really. I don't know what everybody else thinks about that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty crappy. Not much else to say.
I've just seen Trogo's responded on what you've just talked about. I don't know if you've got the chat open. He said it was done that way to prevent the problem with it when it started, where you didn't have to do anything to get to rank number 1. Now, I can kind of see both sides of that. I can see Kixeye's stance where you get put into a bracket, you don't do anything, and you get 3 Grimwraths. But then I can also understand your friend's side of it, where they have been playing, and because of that rule, they've not got what they were entitled to and what they kind of deserved. So I think all it needs to happen is, I mean, obviously with the individual case, they need to treat that a little bit better, I think. But it's definitely something for them to consider for the next arena, and how they can go about preventing that from happening again.
I mean, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, what with the prizes went up to what, 175? place players, was it?
Well, everybody gets something. Just
Yeah. So
I disagree with that.
Maybe more brackets with smaller
Oh.
amounts in the bracket.
but the thing is,
So
you know,
they fill up easier.
what I'm trying to say is, you know, for the Grim Wrath blueprints, there was only 50 players who didn't do anything at all in it. There's only 50 players waiting to join into the bracket to fill it up. So
well, you know, I always assumed that they had, let's just say, call it a bracket for each world, right? Alpha, beta,
yeah,
whatever, gamma. And then, you know, as players join the tournament, they put them in that bracket. And then as soon as you get 250 players, they start another one. And so, you know, except for the very last bracket, all of them should fill up. But even in that very last one, I guess if people, you know, sign up at the last minute, you could, in that system, you could get in a bracket and be at or near the top, I guess, depending on your combat rating, if you sign up so near the end that there's no time to do any battles. But it didn't sound like that's the case in this time.
well, yeah. I mean, you only get, what was it, 10% of your combat rating in points to start off with.
Yeah.
You know, and there's people in there that had, you know, over 14,000, 15,000, 16,000 points that were further down the table.
Yeah, it sounds
was. So,
sounds pretty clear they weren't trying to game the system.
yeah, so, yeah, no, it's something that they need to think about, because at the end of the day, all it's done is aggravated people.
Yeah.
Maybe something to like, so when you've played you know, games where it verifies that you are actually playing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the idea that it was done like that is to stop people from. I understand what they're saying, that if you didn't do anything, then you shouldn't be able to get the prizes. But the fact is that they did do it. They did battle out for the top spots, and they haven't got anything for it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, really. And I can understand where kicks are coming from. Don't get me wrong, but if they have actually fought it out, then they deserve to get the prizes that they fought out for.
So, Rob, I picked up on your other comment there. You know, not quite everybody wins something, and actually, I was in that boat this time as well, because
Yeah.
I
Well-
didn't. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah. So I signed up and just did a couple battles and ended up 122nd, and won a hellstrike, but I already had the hellstrike, so yeah, I didn't win anything this.
This is where my gripe comes into it. And I suppose there's not much that you can do about it now it's happened, but I've already passed it on to them. I had a discussion with someone in support, and they said they're going to pass it on, and hopefully they do, but I'll mention it here as well. And the thing that gets me is, obviously, with the way that you gain points, it's what I referred to in my conversation with supporters, an arse in chair tournament. So whoever gets to sit down the longest wins, pretty much. And I think it's not a true reflection of a skilled tournament at all. I'm going to use me as an example. I'm certainly not saying I was among the best, but for the first, I think it was 30 odd games, I didn't lose, which isn't, obviously, I'm not saying it's the biggest kill streak there was, but I think overall my KD ratio was like ridiculously high, but I didn't get to play an awful lot because of time constraints and, you know, the real world and all that. And when I looked at the kill streaks at the end, you know, the person in rank 2 had a lower kill streak than I did, and that was rank, I think, 74. And then it says you've won the hellstrike, and 11. I think I've got 11,000 uranium, which I probably spent more than that rolling for crews and participating, you know, for the repair insurance. So I just sent a ticket, and I was like, I'm just going to ask, can I swap my hellstrike for something else? I'm not asking for a Grimwrath, but, you know, another pool of prizes that you can offer me that I can choose. And they said no, but they took it on to feedback where they're going to at least consider a different way of giving prizes, because that hellstrike a lot of people have already. So there should be an alternative, or almost like a raid where you get a tier of prizes, and you can pick one of the tier. And even if you have them all, at least there's more chance that you don't have one of them, or they could replace, just like the FM. So there's like 6 prizes you can win. If you have them all, you can choose to win a token instead, or something. I don't know what they could do. Easily do something with the tokens to fix that. And he says to me, "Well, you've won." He said you would have won. He says you would have come away empty-handed because even though you didn't get the hellstrike, you would have at least got road crews and uranium. I'm like, I didn't get a single road crew out of the thing, apart from the free ones and the grease monkeys, obviously. But as a reward at the end, there was no road crew awarded, and the uranium actually put me in a loss. So in essence, I've just lost uranium. So that's why I said earlier, you didn't win anything.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe as well the road crews that people won. If you're full on road crews, even though if you go into the arena normally, you would get another road crew. If you won your first daily match, I don't believe that happens in the arena tournament as a prize when they give out the prizes. I don't think you get an extra one if you're already full.
Well, that double sucks, especially because they did the going rogue event right then. So most people who got anywhere in the tournament are pretty full.
Yeah, we need more slots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to lose some points the same way that the actual arena works normally with your rating.
I know. I don't.
If you're just throwing fleets at it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not entirely sure that that's 100% correct, but I'm sure Trogar can help us out in chat and let us know if that is the case.
You know, if you remember that this format where you get partial, you get points for doing damage was a change a few months ago, where it used to be just a winner take all. And if you go back to that, the problem there was, if you weren't pretty good, there really wasn't much incentive to participate, because if you're playing and you keep losing and losing and you're getting 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, you're not going to play, and you're just going to do a couple matches, and that's what the brackets looked like in those first couple tournaments. Now, if you can play, and even if you don't win, you can get 50 points. You still have some incentive to play, at least. And although it leads to that arse in the chair problem, I think having more players is a good thing.
Trogar's responded. Have you seen her in the chat?
Yeah,
He said about the
yeah, so yeah, it is correct that if you have won a road crew and it hasn't turned up in your road crew stash because you've got full road crews, once you're down below 10, send them a ticket and then they can sort it out for you. But it is in fact correct that if you won a road crew and you're already full, you have not received it.
Yeah, and just to confirm, you have to have less than 10. He said CS cannot overfill road crews.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, good news. Someone on chat as well said, how about giving us more crew slots? And Trogo said it's being discussed. So, it's something positive, I suppose, out of this.
I believe that I've seen a post on the forum in which Trogar said that one of his mates has got 115 road crews at the minute.
Holy cow!
So he won't be getting any soon if he didn't.
Well, I hope he's got a few bulls. I hope he's got a few bullseyes in there.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? 100 bullseye brigades.
Yeah. All right, we ready to move on?
Yes.
All right. New Forsaken mission prizes. This first one's pretty interesting. We got the Pyroclastic turret, and I found it very pyroclastic.
I prefer my name.
Cryo?
Cryoblaster, even though it's not a cryo.
Yeah, and it's not a blaster. But it is we'll call it a frontline base defense turret. It's a thrower, so it's the first thrower turret that you've had available, and it does radioactive damage. It does splash, and it does a lot of damage, 8,800 damage. That is a lot. It's got a range of 90, which is also really good for a frontline turret, but a long reload of 12. And I looked at it and thought it was kind of like the new Napalm. You know, when Napalm came out, it was pretty good. Now, not so much. But you know, Napalm has that similar longish range, and you know, does splash damage and such. So I kind of compared it
Does
to
that
Napalm.
outrange the cryo turret?
No, I mean, you know, I think of this like Napalm used to be.
Well, I'm just saying, is it longer range than the cryo? Because I've got
I don't think
Oh,
a lot
so.
of
No.
no,
No, I don't
Cryo's
think so.
100.
and, gargoyles on my base. You know, I'm thinking the only thing I'd really switch it with would be cryo turrets if it's more powerful and better. That's the only thing I can think of to do with it, really.
I would switch it just because cryo turrets are shit.
The Walmart Wendy.
Yeah.
Is what I
Well,
can call it.
yeah, you know, I still have 2 napalms left in my base because I haven't decided what I really want to switch them with. So I'm definitely want to switch them with this.
So as far as front base turrets, which is what this should be, because you wouldn't put it in the back of your base, I don't think I'd get rid of my gargoyles. I don't think I'd replace my gargoyles for this.
Well, I mean, you need some gargoyles for base defense, but you know, with a range of 90, you got a lot more players that are likely to run into this guy.
Definitely. Definitely. A lot of
Right.
lazy people who don't stop long enough. I get people who stop at a gargoyle and then they move forward, and even though they outrange it by a huge amount, they still take a small volley of the I don't know, rocket, if you like, of the gargoyle.
Well, and look, you got range 90, right? So, you know, the new mortars are 85 and 86, so those ships are going to have to run into this. You know, missiles, if you got strike system, it's shorter range than 90.
I want
You know,
to.
launchers are just 91, so you got to drive perfect to pick these off.
You'd even have trouble with UAVs. I mean, you'd have to drive them well to hit them with UAVs.
Yeah,
And that,
UAVs and Crusaders, you can do it. You don't have to be quite perfect, but you got to think about it.
Somebody said on chat, won't this turret be useless against Frosty? I know that the typical belief is because it's a radiation weapon, Frosty will rule all. Now, if we look at radiation weapons, which we've got napalms at the moment, the Frostburn has pretty much killed the napalm, I would say. I don't know if you'll agree with that. But the difference between this and the napalm does missile damage, so it's still doing a little bit of missile damage, although people resistance against missiles quite a lot now. But with this, it does a huge amount of solid radiation damage. Now think about average Frostburn builds. So how many Frostburns are built with a lot of radiation defense? I don't see many out there. They're usually full of evade, maybe some bulkhead, and they use the fire field or the extinguisher to put out all the fire fields. So if you run into this in a base with your Frostburn, it's going to take a nice chunk off you and just contribute. It's going to contribute heavily towards killing that Frostburn as soon as you can in your base, and it's going to make them stop and you know, maybe stop a little bit more than they would and take some more splash damage from your Apocalypse morts.
I think I'm going to put one in. I mean, I actually won it today. I think I'm going to put one in, and in the back of my channel, I've got like a little U-bend. I could like to call it the U-bend of death. I'm just going to stick one in there just to, you know, make it a bit more of a fiery death.
I was actually thinking the very same thing, Irv.
That's because you got the same base as me.
Well, I know, but great minds think alike, bro. That's my only point here, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, people still. I got 5 gargoyles at the front of my base. I think it's 5, and I still get people running to them. But I've started to actually, fully armor them up because you can get about 35,000 armor points on them if you're on a level 5 platform.
You can armor this as well. And on this, you can put the new D4C, what's coming out. Just to put it into context, my gargoyle at the moment, the ones at the front of my base, they've got insulated panels C and depleted uranium 2 on a level 5 platform. They take 2 shots from an average Crusader fleet. So it already gives them a reason to stop, or they might accidentally run into the gargoyle. So if you replace the gargoyle with this, having more range, it's going to do a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I talk about specials on our next slide. So if you've got a level 4 turret and you put DU3 armor on this, you've got 17% power margin. And so that means you can put on a special that does up to 17% power added. So I looked through what offensive type specials might help this turret, and the only one I could find was the Eruption Pyre that adds to your splash. But I think if I were using this, I'd probably go defensive. And so the compound E panels give you 33% against all the call it conventional damage types, ballistic, missile, and explosive. Pinch resist will fit. The insulated panels that give you 40% resistance and 40% stun, and then the lead panels give you 40% 40% radioactive and
Stun.
Stun, yeah. And then if you have level 5, you can also put the level 3 panels. Like the 60, I think it's 66% defense. With like the level 3, CM or X panels. Might be 50, I forget. I think it's 50. So those are your choices, but yeah, definitely you want to go defensive on your frontline turrets.
And bearing in mind, obviously, them defense armors give 16,000 armor points as well. So it really armors it up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I also looked at the DPS, and I looked at some of these similar kind of turrets. I didn't compare to the Serbs or the Gargoyles because they're so much shorter range, but you can just see that the damage is a lot higher than the Napalm. And of course, we already talked about how the type also makes a difference. You got the long reload time of 12, but that's the same as Napalm, so you're not losing much. Power is kind of in the same neighborhood. And then I did a DPS. You can't evade the Pyroclast, so that doesn't make a difference. And I actually should have done the same thing for the Napalm. But of course, you can outrun Napalm, and you can't really outrun a thrower. Vulture does a lot more DPS, but again, it's the missile, and countermeasures work against it and that sort of thing. So you got to use a little caution with vultures.
And you can also drop a couple of fire supports behind it to increase it, the reload wise.
Yeah.
I've never tried as a vulture missile. I've never used one on my base.
Yeah, me neither.
Never tried.
They can hurt if you're like really hurt in the base if they're placed correctly.
Oh, I've been hit by them, yeah, but I've never actually used one.
No, I haven't either.
Not too popular. All right. So anything else you want to talk about on the Pyroclast?
Yeah, I know if we're saying about having it on these U-bend of death, as you called it. Just want to add to that by saying, a lot of people have on their island at the very last, usually tucked behind their outpost, they might have a Serb or a Gargoyle, which is good for clipping subs if they try to rise at the back of your base, and also it gives them a last moment to stop while they're pushing through with the last bit of health. If anything, you could at least just have one of these on your island, and with the range as well, it really gives them one last stopping point. And because you're so close to the island, the morts tend to hit a lot quicker because they're closer. So you don't, on that last bend, like in Earth space, in my base, in probably most people's bases, on the last bends, you don't want to be stopping because the morts are really going to kind of fuck you up. So that's going to give an extra stopping point right at the last moment where it's most needed. So at least consider having one there. With the fire support on the island as well, it increases the damage and the reload of it. So
that's one of the reasons my two flaks on that corner are changing to two gargoyles with the sea armor on it.
It'd be interesting to see if you actually got like the radiation death blast as well from ships when you kill ships with like napalm and stuff like that, and like the brimstones when they're affecting them. I wonder if that comes into effect with it as well, because that could make it very nice if you've got fleets that are really badly damaged, or you've only got one ship which is quite badly damaged. and you manage to kill it, if you've got that radiation death thing with the fire burst when it dies, that would be cool.
That's really interesting because it doesn't say that on the blueprint, but all the other throwers do that.
Did you say that the eruption pyre fits on a level 4 turret as well, or was it on
Yes,
level 5?
Yeah, it would fit on a level 4, but the only benefit you get is the splash.
Still, no, it's a lot of people group their ships.
Yep.
Yeah. What I'll do is when I've got my first one in, I think I've still got 1 day left on the turret, and then as soon as or as soon as we find out from somebody else, we can test it for us and send a gunboat, see if it blows up.
Yeah, so I can send a fleet round if you, because I should be in your world anyway, so I'll send a fleet round if you want.
We'll have a look and we'll find out, see if we get the radioactive fire death on there, and let everybody know.
All right, let's move on to D4C. This is nothing too special. We've seen D4M, we've seen D4X, we've seen D4R, but now this one gives you ballistic resistance. So very timely with Crusaders burning through a lot of bases, but that's what it is. And
I know that Payne's really looking forward to this because I think his turrets at the moment are 2-shot for Crusader fleets. So you drop this on with the extra arm points, 2.5 shots maybe.
Let me screenshot. Actually, I'll just show you my turret. Because it's pretty much a straight swap to swap my armor for this. So weight-wise, can you see that? So I've got a DU2 on, which gives me 17,000 armor for 968 power. Now, Larry, on that slide, how much is it, the power on a D4C? I don't think it's much different to 968.
Oh, it's a little less, 925.
Okay, so I'm actually saving power then. And the armor points, what's the armor points on it?
16,040.
Yeah, so I'm not losing a lot with 17,000 armor down to 1640. I'm getting more base power. As you can see, I'm running low, so every little helps. Yep. And I'm getting the extra bit of ballistic defense. I've already got 40% ballistic defense from this little thing. Like we were saying earlier, it's only 10% power consumption on the insulated panel C, which works out better for me than putting a heavy layered armor 3 on. And it does make my turret 2-shot at the moment. So maybe, I don't know, I haven't worked out the maths, but maybe changing this to the D4C will make it 3-shot. And like I've already said, putting that new turret on would mean that they're gonna take a hit from it at least once. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. To be honest, I think it's going to be a nice addition.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with the D4s when they first came out, but sometimes they just work out. The numbers work out real nice for putting those in.
Just a quick question: on the pyroclastic turret, am I right in saying it's got a salvo of 8?
Yes.
So what's that? That's a 1.4 second, isn't it? To
yes.
deal its damage. So that's even just having that on there, if you can take it down to 3 shots before it kills it, it's going to be able to do its maximum amount of damage, isn't it?
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure it survives to fire its full salvo.
Yeah.
And with Crusaders, depending on where you place them, if you've retroed your eruption pyre on your apocalypse mortars, they're going to have to stop for that turret anyway, and then the mortars hit them.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely a good idea if you haven't struggled with Crusaders and stuff like that. Get a bit of the CR on there on the new turret. Could work nicely.
Yep. All right.
Just before we move on as well from the armors, I want to add with all the armors, not just the D4C, but the M, the X, and the R. They've all got uses in the base if you think outside the box a little bit. Just a quick example of that. I've recently put a Zinth Reinforcements D4X on a weapons lab, which sounds stupid when you think about it out loud like that. But I've put the radiation suppressor on. So where I put it in my base, it extinguishes all the incendiary fire just around. It covers most of my guard. It doesn't cover one of the ships, but 2/3 of my guard is covered with the field of effect. So any cryo missiles off Protomass and stuff get extinguished. and that little bit of X armor just helps it with the splash and the explosive damage as well. So Weapons Lab now has 27% explosive defense because it's ranked 3 as well, because I've been starting to retro my my D4X for another fleet. So
you can always put wall around it as well. Put level 6 wall around it, get the explosive defense from that.
Yeah, you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Just gives it a little bit of splash resist as well. So when you just think of your base defense and all these other things, what people think are useless when they come out, and it's just something to say when you get D4C, it doesn't mean you've got a shit prize. You just got to think about where best to place it.
At the end of the day, it's the same with anything in this game. Sometimes you can see straight away where something's going to work nicely. Some other things you need to have a bit of a play with, but everything's relevant in some way, shape or form. So
well, most of the community thought negotiators were shit, didn't they?
Yeah, well they were until they buffed them.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yep.
But since the buff, because like everybody sort of forgot them a little bit, and when they were buffed, nobody really didn't pay that much attention until recently. And obviously it's all gone a bit mental with them. So, but you know, you've everything that you're going to get in the weekly is going to help in some way, shape or form. So it's not a wasted prize. It might not be what you want, but it's not wasted.
Somebody recording that, we'll have to play that back to you, Irf, next time you're complaining about what you won.
Oh,
yeah.
Larry, you are my new best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, quit whining, Steve. Come on, man.
I want the damn morts. Give me the damn morts.
I won the mort today.
Yes, I know.
He wants the mort, but then he also wants to complain about constant refits. You just can't please some people.
I give up the tuck ball, get out.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Moving on to other Forsaken mission prizes. Tokens. Tokens are now available on tiers 2, 3, and 4. You get research tokens on tiers 2 and 3 and a building structure build on tier 4. And you earn a token when all the other prizes on that tier have been won. So you have that star in your prize pane, whatever you call it. So a lot of players are caught up on tiers 2 and 3, so people are already winning those research tokens. On tier 4, unless somebody is doing something I'm not, everybody's at least one item behind.
Unless you're a hacker, you're not getting that token.
Yeah. So for the next 2 missions, no tier 4 token is possible because you're gonna at the very least win Pyroclastic and the D4C.
For the next 3 missions.
Well,
I've not missed a single tier 4. I had 2 to choose from in the last one.
Well, so here's the thing. If the thing you're missing has rotated out of the mission, like if you don't have Reaver Bulkhead, okay, and Reaver Bulkhead isn't available, then you could win a token on that 3rd mission from now.
So,
again,
so you're saying then next week's the raid. So if the week after the raid they pull out Serum Barrage and Earth cannot win the Serum Barrage more, he could win a token.
Yes.
They're just throwing low blows now, Steve.
Hey, let's just. All I'm going to say on the matter is, you know, it's not a wasted prize, is it? It'll be used.
Oh no.
It will be used. Your tokens will be used.
I won't be happy. It's like I said, you know, you may not be happy, but you know, nothing's a waste in Forsaken mission.
Well, especially if you want that new turret, one of them new turrets in your base as well, and you do the tier 4s and get the structure for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
The thing I always used to say to people is when they would bitch and whine on cons and they're like, "Oh, I just won the such and such and I wanted this and that." I'm like, well, you can't win that next week, so you've only got a week. Do something else for a week, and then you can win it next week.
That's right. I was still pretty pissed when it was like between Triton and Speed System 3, and I won stupid Triton. to spend for it. All right, so that's tokens. I think we'll move on from there.
Yeah,
The hellstrike. Hellstrike. All right. I put up just a couple of the things about the hellstrike. If you just won your first hellstrike in the Forsaken tournament, hellstrikes are all right, but at R10 they got really cool. You got the 20% rocket range, which nothing else has. 60% splash. You got 14 speed. The 30% extra armor abilities, the 40% radioactive defense. So I guess the first thing is if you want a hellstrike, you really, and you want to build them, you want to get those retroed up as much as you can, as quick as you can, because that's when they're going to really start to be relevant again. You got a lot of weapon slots, a lot of armor slots, 4 specials, and then the tac field resist you also have. So
and a large soda. So
what was that?
There's one person in the chat who will appreciate that. That was just for them. So carry on.
Okay. Hey, okay, so now the next slide, I talk about this cluster warhead thing. I did an article about this in December, talking about this. And if there's any questions, type them now on chat, okay? And maybe somebody will read them and catch me up. But I'll try and go through this. So what I found out by doing some testing back in December is that nothing happens faster than 0.2 of a second apart. Kixeye sort of didn't come out and say that, but they suggested there was a maximum fire rate back when they changed some of the RetroLab bonuses. And so you've got, so doing some testing, I showed that nothing happens faster than 0.2 of a second. That goes for reload time between salvos and the time between shots in a salvo. Okay, a lot of people thought it was 0.1 seconds. It's actually 0.2 seconds. Okay, so Inferno rockets have a 3/4 second reload time, and the Hellstrike hull, even at R0, has a 140% reload bonus. Okay, so if you put Infernos on a Hellstrike, right off the bat you have a 0.3 second reload time, and that's at no rank. And then as you start ranking the thing up, at 37% rank, so that's 3 stars, something like that. Yeah, 3 stars. The reload time drops below 0.2 of a second. So at that point, you can't fire rockets any faster, period. So ranking them up doesn't help you any, and definitely using cluster warheads to increase your reload bonus doesn't help you at all. So
and that's a big fat weight increase for nothing as well.
Oh yeah,
that's right. That's right. So it's a waste of a special slot and waste of weight. So that's Infernos on Hellstrikes, because that really low reload time and that high reload bonus. Now if you're using like Maelstroms or something with a 7-second reload, then cluster warheads are going to help you. But Infernos on Hellstrikes, don't use cluster warheads. Okay? Any questions? Did any questions come up in chat? Sorry, I can't watch chat and do the slides.
I didn't see any questions. I just see people kind of chatting generally about the Hellstrike.
Okay, good. All right, so we're going to move on to some builds. We're going a little longer than we thought we would, but I'm all done with the slides.
But hey, we've got suits on, so we can stay out a bit longer.
Yeah. See, I actually rate this the Hellstrike higher than the Hellhound, to be honest. As far as stats wise, especially with the splash increase. I mean, you put the mortars on it, even though it's not a mortar-based ship. You put that on with this Incinerator, that's 110% splash. So for mortar ships, if you haven't got the Hellhounds or don't want to build them, just refit your Hellstrikes.
I've never gotten Hellstrike still to this day, and it really pisses me off because I've got a good thrower build for them, and it's actually just a lot of fun. You know, the throwers I think are a little bit more powerful than rockets now, so it's like using the Hellstrikes like they're supposed to be an updated version, you know?
Well, the thing is, you can get the combat speed really quick, man. 24, 25 combat speed on them. That's base.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have from way back when they were first out, I have this 3 build and 3 ship Inferno build that I still use sometimes. If a base is full of drones, I'll just ram hellstrikes right through it, and that's still a lot of fun. And then you use them on like the centers of Reaver platforms and stuff like that, and they work pretty well. The only thing I've done.
Should I show them how to get to the builds while we talk about them?
Yeah, Rob, why don't you?
I just noticed Earth's dropped out. We're still live, so we're still streaming. So we'll carry on. But he can't select my screen to show, so it would change as we talk. That means I've got to keep talking to keep it selected. So basically, you all should know by now how to get onto our page. So this is our home page. To find our builds, you need to click on the Photos tab just here in the middle. And then that'll bring you up to here. You want to go to Albums on the right-hand side. And then, painstakingly, I took screenshots and made all these albums last night. There is still a few missing. It's a work in progress. But you see that you've got different ships, and you can scroll down and find the ship that you're looking for, even bloody floating fortresses. Now, so obviously for this purpose, if you were looking for a hellstrike, you'd come down and find hellstrikes. And then you'd open it up and it would bring you up a folder of all the different builds that we've added. We've obviously got quite a few more for Hellstrike, seeing as we had the show today for the Hellstrike. And you just basically click on it. You can cycle through with your left and right key through the different builds or press the arrows. And for every build, we've got a Huggies link, so you can go click on that and take you directly to the link, so you can have a play with it and see what you think and edit it. And whoever's made it has tried to give you a kind of summary of what it is, and hopefully this is something you can all kind of take some help from. We're going to be updating it all the time and adding new things to it. But seeing as we are talking about hellstrikes, here are the builds that we've got. They're all on the page already. This is the one Larry was talking about with his what he uses as his drone rammer. And then we've got Chris's one with throwers. We've got some with morts, some with launchers, rockets. So that's that. I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything to that.
Not really. Obviously there's loads of builds on there for loads of different ships. If you are stuck with anything and you want to build something and you haven't got anything that's in there, or you're missing some pieces and stuff like that, don't hesitate. Just drop us a message on the page and we'll help you out.
Yeah, if you guys have a cool build of your own, PM it to one of us, and we, give us, the description and all that, and we'll put it up here for you.
Yeah, I was going to add that we've got some community builds in there already. Obviously, it is a community page. It's not just us telling you what we think's best. Sometimes we miss things, and you guys find things that we don't, and help us out where we've missed things. So, as I think the whole point of this idea when we came up with it was with the whole community kind of coming together and everyone putting their own input in. This hopefully is going to be a hell of a lot more builds where to the point you can cycle through and look through so many ideas that you can pick different aspects of different fleets to make your own fleets and kind of get the best knowledge from the whole, from everybody in the community. If you come together like that, you tend to get more useful information than just one or two people telling you what to build.
And more variety as well, things like you say you wouldn't think of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tool for everybody to use. Like we said, if you can send us some messages with links for builds and stuff, we can get it done for you. We'll stick it up there. It's a tool for everybody.
Right,
Everybody's builds are welcome in there.
And it could be for anything, fleet v fleet, base it in, dredges,
Yeah,
all around there.
It's basically just to help everybody out. So, it's our way of helping you out, and if you want to add to it, you can help others out as well. So, it's there for you all to use, and it's there for you all to add to. I did post the link on the forums. If you